Hey guys, today we've got some classy gear, and it almost looks like I color matched the brush to the soap label. Wasn't intentional, but we'll take it, right? We've got class with a tobacco scent of Barrister and Mann's The Full Measure of Man. And we've got class with a rare razor, a single edge razor that's kind of in the 1912 family, a gem Damaskeene razor. And then we have the B4 brush. The knot is a Declaration Grooming B4 knot, and it is a That Darn Rob handle that I really enjoy. I'll get him back in the water. A full tilt tobacco scent, deep, rich, sweet. Definitely not one of those dry ones that is fairly commonplace, like those cognac and Cuban cigars, kind of scent. It's a lot richer than that. So we've got the Gem PTFE blade. It's a brand new one, as you can tell. And I wanted to give this razor a chance to start up on a new one since my other one is 13 or 18 uses in, and it's starting to maybe get a little inefficient. And so for the first use of this razor, I wanted to start with a brand new. And you can date this razor if you saw my little clip. Actually, it turned out to be half an hour, right? As I was talking about some of the new gear, and I'm using those today. The soap and this razor were mentioned in that video. I talked about how from 1916 to 1919 they made these Gem Damaskeene razors, and they put Gem Cutlery Company on the back here, and they changed the wording after that time period, and so that's a good way to date these according to my research. And we will place the gem blade in there, let it come down and rest on the little feet in the corners, and then I'm going to just visually kind of check it. That's got a lot of exposure. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. A huge gap, tons of exposure. Now, I believe these razors, the 1912 types, were a little bit different than the clog proofs, the bullet tips, the micromatics, in that you didn't have to hold the little blade angle here, make it so small, hold it with the handle out more so that it was kind of being parallel with your skin. I believe I had a better time with a little bit normal of an angle that might be similar to what you'd use with a double edge. So we'll see what happens there. But wow, that is it is a closed comb, but for your skin, it might as well be an open comb, because that curls away. The solid part is curled away from your skin. All right, now it came in this worn box, but it's pretty neat just to see it in the first place. I don't really care about the box too much because I use the razor, and it's not designed to be a collector's museum quality piece. It's designed for me to enjoy a piece of history, to shave with it, to use it like the guys who owned it in the beginning might have. With the razor and the blade, I'll get my face wet now, and we will load the brush and start talking about the scent. I was searching for The Full Measure of Man on Google because I wanted to get the literary reference. I remember somebody mentioning it when Barrister and Mann announced this scent's release. I found a quote by Albert Schweitzer. Maybe that's where it came from. And it was a very neat quote about the full measure of a man kind of being identified and measured by the textures and colors of good quality values, good things that come out of the people that are around him that he has kind of influence with. And he, of course, the quote is much more graceful and elegant than than that, but that gives you the general gist of it, and it's really neat. So maybe that's what Will was kind of having in mind for this. And this is the Excelsior base, I'm pretty certain. You do have the Excelsior E character here on the label. And so what we'll do is we'll smell it when it's dry, and then we'll see how that changes, if at all, when it gets wet. I have smelled it when I got it first in the mail. It was more intense. It was kind of darker and sweeter, almost had a little bit of a chocolate vibe to it, almost like it was a tobacco scent with almost like a gourmand tweak to it. And I didn't know if I liked that chocolate aspect, but I've just smelled it over the last few days, and now I'm not really getting that chocolate lean to it. Just a rich, sweet tobacco, wonderful. The notes that Will has on his site, I was going to call him Bill. That's what happens when you say Barrister and Mann and Bill. Cured tobacco, sandalwood, mousse de saxe. That's an element that's in several of Barrister and Mann's soaps, scents. Citrus, vanilla, resins, myrrh, and geranium. I think I can pick up the mousse de saxe. I don't know exactly how it smells. However, a couple of the other mousse de saxe scents, I can kind of see their heritage coming through here. Not really picking up too much of the citrus, I don't think. It's probably just a little helper. I'll probably pick up a little bit of the vanilla. Resins, unsure. Myrrh, I don't think so. Anything floral for geranium? Don't think so. A little supporting cast member, I'm cool with that. So there we go. Let's just see what changes as we get it wet. And we'll 30 seconds, 25 seconds. What should I do? What load time? Let's do 30. This is my B4 knot. Shake out a lot of the water. Keep it plenty wet though. And then we'll do a 30-second load starting at the 45-second mark. Should be plenty of lather generated because of that. A few more seconds. And there we go, moderate pressure. There's of course a slight brownness to it. And with the bubbly overflow, we can break up a few of the facial oils with it. Many of you guys may do a pre-shave routine that involves a soap. I understand a glycerin soap is especially good for pre-shave cleaning with the way it treats hydration and things like that. It's also not abrasive. You don't want to have any kind of scrubbing type soap since you're about to take a razor to your face. That's plenty exfoliating action there. All right, I'm going to rinse out. I'm not rinsing out the tub. I hold it upside down, and then I just rinse the threading here to keep it from building up over time. I just leave those suds in there for next time. They'll dry up a little bit. All right, now tilt you down to watch the lather come together. Oh yeah, some interesting things are coming across, some differences. It's not quite as sweet now as it was. It was starting to feel a little dry, so I thought let's go ahead and put a little bit of water in it. Maybe I need to load some more, but I don't think so. Another teaspoon. That's just 2 teaspoons, and it doesn't look like it's coming together quite with quite as much volume as I might think. And so, since this was the first use of it, sometimes certain soaps will resist loading just a little bit, and once you start them, then 30 seconds or even 20 seconds is going to be plenty. But the first time you do it, you might have to double the time, the loading time, or maybe just 1.5 times what you might normally be doing. However, with we might be okay. It's definitely not going to be excessive, but it might be. It might be enough. Just don't want to make it too lean. The scent is greatly reduced from the dry tub. Maybe the myrrh and the resins are kind of what's jumping out at me now. That sweet tobacco has backed off a little bit. Perhaps a richer load that gave me more lather might, affect the intensity and what I'm picking up, but for now, that's what I'm getting. I definitely look forward to using this soap some more, so I didn't mind loading it with a brush right from the soap. If it's something I'm not thinking I'm going to keep, I often will scoop it just to kind of keep the soap surface clean. Now, it started off kind of flimsy, but gradually, you see that the soap has found water, and we're looking at a pretty nice lather. I may not need to put any more water in it, and has been quite a while since 2 teaspoons was enough water to do the job, and I think it's just because not as much soap was pulled up from the puck. And with really soft brushes like this B4, that sometimes happens, and you just have to account for it, and just 10 more seconds on loading and you're fine. So I think we're good with this mix. So interesting that the sweetness is backing off just a little bit, and I'm getting more the character of the tobacco now. That chocolate is gone totally, and it's a more distinctive tobacco now with some of those spices. Pretty cool. Oh, and the sandalwood, I'm picking up a little bit of that. Man, that blends so well with the tobacco. Wow, nice. And the mousse de sac, a little bit of that. I'm getting my face wet. All right. So let's put some of this on and see what happens. Words that were in the description page for Barrister and Mann for this scent are classic and masculine, richly appointed libraries, winged leather armchairs, teak and mahogany aging, genteel and smooth. So that kind of gives you an idea of the picture that Will was trying to put together with this scent. This brush, as usual, is simply fantastic. big and soft, luxurious, kind of how this soap was meant to be in both the base and this particular theme. I have, as I mentioned on the mail call video for this, I've been to the Biltmore House, which is a mansion near Asheville, North Carolina. And some of those rooms are just outrageous, just fantastic. There's just one that's got these just rich, dark armchairs like the description's talking about. It's got a pool table and maybe some animal heads mounted on the walls. Library shelves, and nothing bright and cheery in there at all. Just kind of somber and just rich. And this really does match how I might think that room. You know, no pastels. Just kind of decadently rich, woody, vintage, aged, classic, manly. Yep, all those things. And this scent is really hitting that right on the head. The Vanderbilts were the ones that created the Biltmore estate. Well, this particular lather here I am feeling very good about. It's not too wet. See, not very much is gathering around my goatee. It's not super thick in other places. Might just kind of be perfect. We'll work the lather in, and I think we are in good shape. Yesterday I used the Timeless Bronze, the 78 open comb head, and it was quite aggressive. It did leave me with a tender feeling during the shave, at the end of the shave, but then it didn't last very long. And so, sure, after the shave I feel fine, but during the shave I don't really enjoy having that happen. But fortunately, since it didn't last farther than the shave, that was fine. And so today we'll see if this shave brings back any of that tenderness. This is a very beautiful example of the Damaskeene razor. I would bring it up close to the camera, but my camera doesn't focus very well up close, so I have to keep it at these kinds of distances. The weight here, center of gravity, is just above, yeah, where my fingers are now. It's just above the little shoulder right here. And so that seems to be pretty good. That feels like that's about right. This is a solid handle, and so it's got good weight to it. All right. Moving through the hair easily. Little bit of a scrapey sound, but that's really the sound that the razor is making. It doesn't feel scrapey on my face. I'm feeling the blade edge, but it's not a sharp, uncertain type of feeling. I'll repeat the advice I so often say with this type of single edge razor. Here's a few things to think about. Number one, make sure you don't use the box cutter type single edge blades that look like what fits in this razor. The ones used for shaving are definitely different. Also, make sure that while there are different options available for you, like some carbon ones and some non-PTFE blades, make sure you do try the PTFE, because everybody pretty much universally agrees that they're they're the best for this. Excellent. And then I can take some extra, put it right here in my trouble spot. I think we're going to have a very comfortable second and third pass with most of that taken off with the first pass. Just a 1-day growth is what we're shaving off, and quite often with these types of single edge razors I am faced with the unfortunate necessity to just stick with 2 passes. I enjoy shaving and I don't want to just do 2 passes, but so often they cut so well that it's inviting irritation to keep going for a 3rd pass, because sometimes these are kind of aggressive razors, and when they're new I've had them easily slice through bumps on my face. I've got a few that are problematic, but I don't think that's happened quite yet. Let's go sideways now, and for me this is cross grain. Very comfortable. The angle, very natural. I don't think I would mind shaving with this if I were stuck somewhere and only had access to this razor. I'm being very cognizant of the angle to make sure I don't close in the handle too much to increase that blade angle. However, with this one, unlike some of the others, like the bullet tips and those Micromatics, it's a little easier to keep a light touch with this one because of the balance, and I'm able to hold it in a central location and let it just kind of gently ride over my skin with a very light pressure, and I think that is helpful. I'm going to get a rinse and just see what it looks like after the second pass here. Yeah, I could quit if I wanted to. If I had an average job where I wasn't under a lot of scrutiny, nobody would notice a thing and it would look like a great shave. There are just a few little bits that I'm curious if I touch them up carefully and lightly, if I can get it to a great result. Notice I didn't go against the grain. I usually don't. So let's see. Let's just see what can happen here. And I am going to end up having enough lather to do the job, but I definitely don't have as much margin left over as I usually do. I do feel a little bit of tenderness in my neck area. I don't think it's coming back because of yesterday's shave. I think it's just what this razor has done. But it's very light. These are kind of strange looking razors, but they work well. They cut well. The balance here feels terrific. The angle is very natural. So where they figured out how to bring it up and then tilt it a certain way, that it's kind of right on the money. I'm going to switch to my third pass direction right here. A little bit of skin stretching with the chin up and away, And here I'm just going to anchor the skin so it doesn't move. And very carefully, because this is where I can stir up irritation. Paying close attention to keep a low blade angle just in case it's going to matter a lot right here. And there we go. I think I'm okay. You can take a little bit of the remnant of soap and just kind of move it around your face, almost like a lotion. Use that to feel the stubble. That way you're not rubbing kind of dry skin. Man, that is a close shave. I'll tell you what. And I am remembering the woodiness, the tobacco of the shave. I feel like people who might have received this soap ordered it because it's Barrister and Mann and they thought they might like it, and I think that's always a good bet with Barrister and Mann. And then opened it up and gotten a nose full and have it been too sweet for them. And without even trying it, they pass it on to somebody else. I think that might have been what happened in my case, how I got a hold of mine. But that sweetness is lost. That sweetness doesn't come across very much into the wet lather, at least in my case with this shave. I'll probably load a little bit more next time, but honestly, my ratio here, kind of feel like was exactly on point. It's creamy, feels luxurious, it's terrifically slick, very, very slick. It feels like it's nourishing my skin with kind of oils and butters and those kind of things. And so even if I were to load more soap next time, I might get a bolder scent profile in terms of the strength of the scent, but I would be adding water to try to get it to this very consistency right here. I think this is pretty much perfect. And I'm getting that tobacco, but it's definitely backed off. The sweetness has gone. So don't abandon, don't not try this because of that sweet, the strength of that sweetness in the beginning, because it doesn't come through in the wet lather, to my nose at least. That sandalwoodiness is coming through a little bit. Tobacco and sandalwood, and a hint of the vanilla, a little bit of the resins, a little bit of the myrrh. I'm not picking up the citrus or the geranium. That is really nice. Man, Will, what a terrific scent. You can read on his site how he hasn't released a tobacco scent, and it wasn't because he doesn't like them. He definitely has some tobacco scents that he has smelled that he is a big fan of. He was working on other scents, and he finally landed on this tobacco scent and crafted it and released it to us. And I've seen so many people. I've seen several people just kind of dismiss it a little bit as too sweet, but they're missing out. I sure hope they tried it. This is really good. It evokes that exact story that Will was talking about on his website. The richly appointed libraries, the winged leather armchairs, aging teak and mahogany, genteel and smooth, classic and masculine. Yes to all those things. He hit the mark so well with this one. I almost didn't order it because of some of the people talking about how sweet it was. I'm so glad I didn't listen, because it's just wonderful. There are nice tobacco scents out there, but this is very much tobacco, a wonderful aged cured tobacco scent, not tobacco flower, of course, but it's distinctively tobacco, but it has some of those accents that I mentioned to give it interest, but it doesn't depart from or be some crazy version of tobacco. And so all of those pieces are helpers, and they contribute toward that goal and that mission of the scent he was trying to put together, at least the way I'm perceiving it. Big win. It's so hard sometimes to characterize a word like tobacco and to make a soap or a scent that does that well while also being interesting and different than many of the other tobaccos out there. And this is perfectly that. Well done. Oh, wow. I mean, that's terrific. I'd probably enjoy the splash of this one if I had it. But wow, this is terrific. I have left my face to kind of, I did rinse, and I'm wondering if I was going to feel some tenderness, and I do. So this Damaskeene is probably not as smooth as a couple of the other options out there, for my skin at least. And yes, the closeness of the cut was marvelous. My trouble spot area here looks fabulous. That third pass was profitable. It may have stirred up a hair of tenderness, but it was worth it in terms of the results. Very close, wonderful smoothness as I'm rinsing. It just feels terrific. So, winner, chicken dinner. Very happy about this shave. Now, what do I have post-shave? Oh, yeah. In a way, I don't want to put this on, but I don't have tons of options. Let me look around. I'm still lightly smelling the tobacco, which is nice. In a way, I don't want to put on a balm after now, because I do enjoy this scent so much. Currently with this scent, he is releasing the balm with it. Because of COVID, he had to switch away from the alcohol splashes. I believe he's starting to get back into that these days. I've got Dunshire right here from Stirling. And this might actually be a good choice, because even though it's designed to be a dupe of Aqua di Gio, it is a very low strength dupe, and so maybe that's what I need right now to maybe not overwhelm my memory of this scent. Now, speaking of that, during the shave, I think I'm looking at a light scent strength during the shave, but not too light. Maybe 4 out of 10, I'd probably put it. Very still present during the shave, a wonderful part of how I remember the shave. I was able to fairly easily ascertain many of the scent notes, though usually only when I had it up at my nose, being the bowl or the brush. So it was maybe a 3 out of 10 when it was just my face having the lather on it. Then it increased to 4 when I was smelling the brush or the bowl. So very nice. Let us put on some Dunshire, and I bet it will take care of the tenderness that I've kind of got on my neck here. So the Damaskeene, many regard it as a very nice shaver, performing well for them, and I can see why. Maybe a little too aggressive for me, but I don't think I have super tough skin, and there are probably lots of guys out there who like razors that are a little more aggressive than I can take. And of course, with that aggression, often you're rewarded with closeness. So there's that. Just 2 teaspoons of water. Well, that's what happens when you have, I loaded for 30 seconds, but and it was adequate. It was adequate. like I showed you. I do have a little bit left over. It's a little bit wet right now because I did a little bit of brush rinsing, but I could probably work up another pass if I needed to, but it's pretty much right where it needed to be. All right, well, I could try this exact setup again with the Damaskeene with the razor blade, because it could smooth out a little bit on the second or third shave, and so then it could drop down in aggression to a level that I might be more comfortable with. So we could try that in the future too. Wonderful shave. I cannot wait to shave with this soap again, and that doesn't happen all that often, but it definitely happens with some of Barrister and Mann's scents. You guys take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I sure hope that this video has brought something to you to help you out. And I do know that there are lots of video reviews out there of this new soap, Barrister and Mann. It's popular. And so feel free to check out those other guys, get their perspective on it as well. Especially if you're a face latherer, you don't mix it up in a bowl like I do. The scent profile is going to be probably a little bit stronger, because a lot of those guys like to load heavier than I do, and they like their soap a little drier than I do, which is going to be a little bit stronger of a scent. I like mine really, really well hydrated and super slick. And speaking of that, let's talk about the performance of the razor with the lather. It was terrific. Moved easily through the lather, very slick. I felt well protected. I did not. The razor blade was held nicely, and so it wasn't out of control. It wasn't tenuous. It felt very consistent moving across my face. So really nice, really nice. All right, guys, take care. All the best to you. Good night.